The American political system was designed, as everybody knows, starting in 1776 with the Constitution and elections, where majority rules, and we have, a representative government that everybody participates in. At least now everybody does. That wasn't true originally, but now at least everybody gets a vote. Those systems were designed to produce representative government. The idea was that we elect people who are knowledgeable and expert, and they set public policy. That was always the case. It was always the intention. Unfortunately, if you look at today's elections and you look at the divided, tribalistic nature of our politics, for some reason, in some way, we've transitioned to a point where elections now, people think that elections mean that if they win, they get what they want. It's about me. It's about self. It's about we get what we want if we win, rather than electing people who have experience and judgment to set public policies that are best for all of us and for the nation. That's a huge difference. Maine had an election, a referendum, which is another innovation that's really flies in the face of what representative democratic government's supposed to be. If you go back and look at some of the Founding Fathers' papers, there was always concern about tyranny of the majority. And the majority, we say, well, it's the will of the people. Well, the will of the people isn't always right. There have been places in this country for years where slavery was approved, women couldn't vote, interracial marriage was prohibited, gays weren't allowed to marry. So the majority is not necessarily always right, and it's not always something that we should allow to govern us. That's why we have representative government and checks and balances. Public policy is supposed to go through a complicated process to get to a result that's examined and dealt with by experts, not necessarily the will of the people, and not just because it's what I want. Maine had an election a few years ago where a referendum, where the issue was a tax increase. And the tax increase was only going to be applied to people above a certain income. And my recollection is the taxation department said that that tax increase would apply to 16,000 Maine households. So it was basically the 16,000 households in Maine with the highest income. And if you assume, I'm going to do this, just make this assumption because it makes the numbers work out nicely. If you assume there are 2.5 voters in every one of those 16,000 households, that's 40,000 voters. That's probably not unrealistic, maybe close, I don't know, it's just an estimate. But it works because there were 740,000 votes cast. So that makes it easy. So here's an election, a referendum, where we've got 700,000 people who are not going to be affected, who are not going to pay, deciding whether the other 40,000 should. That's never what democracy was intended to be. That's never what we were supposed to be doing. That's why referenda are a bad idea, and why the idea that elections should be about, do I get what I want if I win, has been counterproductive and really destructive to both the economy, the polity, and our unity. We need to re-examine that. We need a recommitment to a better, higher purpose, and we need to get back to representative government that's based on trust and respect and works through a process back and forth of compromise that gets us to quality public policy.